This might be the most intense group in the entire 2026 World Baseball Classic. One powerhouse, one bitter rival, one shocking Cinderella, and one team nobody's talking about, but should be. Welcome to Pool C, and trust me, you do not want to sleep on this group.
Welcome to episode 5, guys. Pool C, we're getting into it. A lot of people don't respect the Pool C. We're gonna give you a couple reasons why you should.
Group, this Pool C, I thought this pool was trash. I'll be honest. It's on episode 1. But honestly, the more I look into it, the more I realize there's a lot of drama here, and more importantly, there's a lot of unpredictability. This group, besides Japan and maybe Korea, the rest is. Let's see what happens, right? So truly, this is going to be an unpredictable pool, sure. And I'm more excited now after I dug into it than I was before. So Let's go.
So let's talk about Team Japan, the champs last year. Who can ever forget that moment?
Ohtani's ready. Trout's ready. 3-2. He struck him out. Ohtani strikes out Trout, and Japan's back on top of the baseball world.
But they're back, and they're arguably stronger than ever. They do not rebuild. They just retool, and they have a bunch of players, and they're going to be really good again.
Yeah, I mean, even if Ohtani doesn't play, this team is so deep. They're still the deepest team in this group by far. There's no doubt about it. But I do have a strong feeling that Ohtani will play, even if it's at SDH.
So. I think so. I mean, the 3-time WBC champs in 2006, 2009, and 2023. 3-time WWE.
WWE. The WWE, the choke slam. Here comes Japan versus Stone Cold Steve Austin.
They are 3-time WBC champs in 2006, 2009, 2023, most recently. They're a gold standard when it comes to WBC, and they're looking to go back to back.
Yeah, this team is so stacked. I mean, they've got Rory Sasaki, they have Murakami, probably even Yamamoto back. And the Nippon Baseball League just reloads every year. I'd argue that they've got the best pitching staff in the whole World Baseball Classic.
Oh, yeah.
Pitching honestly.
Is definitely going to be their strength.
Pitching is a huge strength for Japan, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I mean, let's go into some of those players you mentioned. Roki Sasaka, I think is definitely going to play. 2023, he pitched for Team Japan. He had starts against the Czech Republic and Mexico. He's struggling right now the first season with the Dodgers, getting acclimatized to the MLB, 4.72 ERA. But he's still young with growth stuff. I mean, numbers don't lie. His metrics are through the charts. But I think he'll settle down, and definitely national play. I think he'll definitely.
No, he's starting to show those flashes. That made him the star that we saw in the World Baseball Classic, and that actually made the Dodgers spend that much money into him. So it's just like you said, it just takes time to get used to the league. But the metrics are there, right? Sure. And his stuff is showing, starting to show. He's getting to settle down, and believe me, he's going to be a powerhouse to come, for years to come, for sure.
Speaking of power, let's talk about Murakami. Munetaka Murakami. He is the definition of power. He's the MVP in the MPB, the Nippon Professional Baseball League. He had a slow start in 2023. I don't know if you remember, but he was not hitting too well, and there's a lot of reports about why he wasn't hitting too well. But he heated up, and he was clutch in those moments that he needed to be clutch. And I think again he's going to be a big power bat for them. And I think soon will be in the MLB for sure. He'll definitely get a contract, but it's another power bat, just another loaded prospect that Team Japan has in their arsenal.
Yeah, he may not even end up in the in the MLB. But one thing that people forget is that a lot of Japanese players just stay in Japan, and we never get to see them in the MLB. It doesn't mean that they're not MLB caliber. It's just that they choose to stay home because the salaries over there are good. They are home, so not everyone that can makes that jump. And Murakami is one of those talents that he could certainly fit in any ball club, here in the MLB, and it's a great power hitter for sure.
For sure. The last player I want to talk about, I mean, this guy needs no introduction, no description, no nothing. Shohei Ohtani,
The cheat code.
3-time MVP. It's crazy to think about. He's won MVP 3 times. He's won 1 in the American League and 2 in the National League. He's just, and he's getting back to pitching next month. So it's like this guy. Like, but again, even without Ohtani, this team is still stacked.
Yeah, and I don't think. I mean, I don't know. I would be surprised if Ohtani pitches in the World Baseball Classic, particularly after the surgery. But regardless, his presence is everything for that team, and that team is always so laser focused, so intent. One wild card that we haven't mentioned is Nutblar. Lars Nutblar. Nutblar, in the 2023 episode, or the 2023 version of the World Baseball Classic, he was part of the Japanese team.
They loved him. The Japanese loved him.
And if you saw that little documentary they made about his interaction over there, you could then, beyond that, you could see the environment of that Japanese team,
for sure.
which is what we've been talking about when we're talking about the rest of the world versus the United States. This is about country. This is about pride. They truly gel together as a team.
No, for sure.
And I'm telling you, I mean that gel and that camaraderie comes huge. It's a very important part of what's to come.
It's such a short tournament, so you're either connected with your teammates or you're not, and there's not really a lot of time to figure it out.
Yeah.
So
for sure.
Let's talk about Team Japan's strength and weaknesses. Give me your strength for Team Japan.
I think, like I said before, they're pitching. Right, and when I say it's not just the starting pitching, it's not the middle relief, it's not the closer, it's everything. They are deep at every pitching position, and truly, any team in the World Baseball Classic would trade their pitching staff for theirs. Honestly, one for one. Really, really deep. It's a tremendous strength and world class for sure.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with you. Their pitching is just stellar. There's nothing to talk about really. Like, they could, on an off day when they're playing against a qualifier or whatever, they could pitch a guy who could be an ace on another World Baseball Classic team. Like, it's crazy. But for me, a weakness, if I had to say Team Japan had one, would be hitting. But that's not even a weakness really. But it's just because of their pitching so good.
Yeah.
That their hitting is just like, it's still good, but it's just not at the level that they're
Well, pitching. I mean, their hitting sometimes comes into play, right? Like for instance, in the 2023, Czech Republic actually gave him a scare, for a couple innings, But it's because of their lack of hitting, that they do have certain, several great hitters, but it's just not consistent, and they depend a lot on the small ball. But honestly, it's we're nitpicking, This team is stacked.
Something I want to leave Team Japan off with is like over 40 million people in Japan watched the 2023 semifinal versus Mexico.
Wow.
That's crazy. Wow. This team just doesn't play. They unite like a whole nation. When they play,
for sure,
a whole nation's watching, and it's like that's a semifinal, not even the championship. So it's like
that's truly, I would describe it as the world stops, and truly that world stops for Japan.
Sure. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. So let's go into the next team, Team Korea. I have one word to describe this team: is redemption. They have not performed how they should have in a long time, and they're looking to get back to form in 2026.
Yeah, this is personal, for Korea. In 2023 they really had a bad tournament, disappointing to say the least. They were hosting a group and they still couldn't get out of it. I mean, it was terrible. And Korea has a deep baseball tradition. And they are laser focused. I mean, believe me, these people, they got one mission. They got two missions. Number one, get out of pool, and number two, beat Japan. Mm-hmm. They really want to beat Japan with all their might, for sure.
For sure. I mean, they were finalists in 2009, but they haven't escaped the first round since. So it's something that they need to turn around their culture right now, or else they're gonna get stuck in that area of mediocrity.
Yeah, but this team has they've grown, right? I think that they've reloaded, particularly because some of that talent that they had in 2023 and even previous World Baseball Classics has matured, and now you have a lot of talent that it's actually reached the MLB and really playing well. Like, they're getting deeper. Like, Young-Hoo Lee is the MLB now. Hae-Sung Kim is a monster. And the KBO has been putting out, pumping out talent, and so there's no doubt about it. Throughout the world, it's a deeper, more experienced and hungry team than the one in 2023
Yeah,
for sure.
Another player I want to bring up is Tommy Edman. He's been doing crazy for the Dodgers. A power bat. He's been known for a contact guy his whole career, but this time he's hitting like 10 bombs so far in mid-June. But he's doing very well in a stacked lineup in the Dodgers, but he's still finding a way to carve out playing time. So he's a big player for Korea and somebody to watch out for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
And again,
for sure.
I don't know if you touched on him, but Hassan Kim, he's been injured. He signed with the Rays this year, but he's been injured. But he could anchor the infield. He's a former All-Star, so he's a good shortstop and a good MLB veteran who can really lead these guys into some wins and finally make it out of the first round.
Yeah, speaking of which, when you talk about the strengths of this team, that elite level infield defense, it's what's going to be their strength. And again, you got Tommy Edman, you got Hae-Sung Kim, plus great KBO catcher, and third baseman. They make their infield is really world class. So that's a great strength for them. Another one that I see is that they have a good mix of contact and power hitting in their lineup. And their back of the end bullpen is a good strength for them as well.
I agree. I mean,
how about you?
For my strength, I said they're hitting. They have a lot of experienced MLB hitting, and that can really carry that starting rotation that's a little lackluster. But I think that hitting is very impressive. That's the bigger strength for me. And also the biggest weakness for me is the lack of MLB talent pitching.
Oh, yeah.
Could show in short tournaments such as these. One of these bad pitchers, if they have a bad outing, you get down 6-0. It's kind of hard to get out of that. And there's not a series. It's just one game. So it's kind of hard to get out of that hole. But that's one thing I would say that MLB pitching, especially your starting pitching side, it's a little weak.
No, I agree with that. And I think also another, whether you call it a weakness or you may call it a wild card, is that they're facing a ton of national pressure to perform after not doing well in 2023. Remember, guys, this is very different. It's a very different atmosphere. Culture. Japan, Korea. These are proud countries, and this team has talk about a microscope, on them. They're feeling the pressure, and I hope that they perform under pressure as opposed to crumble under pressure. So that's a wild card, whether you call it a weakness or a wild card. I think that's an important piece that we cannot forget.
Oh, for sure. But like for me, Korea, it's their pride on the line. Like their rivalry with Japan is generational, and it has been for a long time.
Yeah.
But it's not just baseball. It's about it's politics, it's culture, and it's emotional. So you're gonna see when you're watching these games, you're gonna see fans going crazy, being the loudest fans, and it's gonna be a cool atmosphere to be in. But I'm excited to watch Team Korea in 2026 for sure.
Yeah, I'm excited too. It's gonna be cool. So let's move on to Chinese Taipei and what the prospects look like. So tell me a little bit about them. What I know that you. Overall, I think you think more of this team than I do, but I want to hear your opinion. What do you have?
I just think that Taiwan is they love baseball. They eat, sleep, and dream about baseball, and I think they usually do really well in qualifying. If you look at their standings and qualification rounds, they're killer in qualifiers. But when they get into that real tournament, it's kind of hard for them to get a win or whatever. But again, they qualified today. They hosted a round. They qualified. They didn't kill the qualifiers, but they did enough to pass through. But I think that also their fans are very emotional. If you watch a Chinese Taipei game, you're gonna be drawn into emotion because they play with their heart on their sleeve. Yeah. So it's very easy to root for them. And although I think that this team is weaker than in 2023, it's just I think that heart is gonna come into play, and I think they're gonna get into games that they shouldn't be in.
Yeah, I mean the Chinese Taipei Baseball League, is solid. It's always been solid, and they produce, they have talent and they have solid talent, in terms of the fundamentals, right? I mean that's something that you can see from those players that come out of the Taipei or Chinese Taipei Baseball League. Having said that, they are not used to seeing MLB level pitching.
Oh no, for sure. For sure.
And I think that that's going to be something that they're going to struggle with. I do believe that they have a more solid roster than they're going to have that they did in 2023.
Oh, really? Okay.
But I think particularly when it comes to their offense, in the middle might be a better alternative for them than they had in 2023. But still, it's a solid roster, and they're gonna be okay. But let's see what happens, right?
Let's see what happens. Yeah.
What do you think are the strengths?
For me, I think the strength is the hitting. I would say because they have a. Let's talk about some players I'm looking at. So Lee Lin is a CPBL. That's the league in Taiwan. Slugger. He was clutch in 2023, and I think that veteran presence is going to really carry a lot in this tournament. Yu Chang was a national hero in that tournament. He got a nice MLB contract after. He's out of the league right now, but he could possibly use this to get himself back into the league. But Yu Chang's got to. I think the Sir captain, so he's got to play well. Another one, Su Wei Lin. Sorry if I'm mispronouncing these. So he's a solid. He brings solid veteran presence in the pitching, and then also the CPBL pitching depth is growing fast. I think like their pitching staff is getting better over time. 80 pool. They're not getting into 85, but
I mean, okay. Now, strengths for me are the middle of the lineup, right? When it comes to offense, right? They have some pop in the middle of the lineup. When you go to weaknesses,
there's a lot of them.
Everything else is a weakness, Diego says 80 pool. I call it, sub 90 mile per hour pitching, which is a nice way of saying, 80 poo. Pitching, youth, and they're very inexperienced, Their defense, bro. That's another thing that's been, like I said, they're fundamentally solid, but that defense has faltered when they needed the most in several of those games, and that's what killed them. I think the fact here's one thing to look for, right? The three countries in Asia with that love baseball the most are in that pool. So national pride is going to swell. The environments are going to be incredible. That Korea versus Chinese Taipei game.
Oh yeah.
The environment's going to be crazy.
No.
The environment's going to be crazy. Probably one of the highest, if not. Not counting the one between Japan and Korea, but that I will watch that game just to see the fans and to watch the reactions. That's gonna be really cool. But this team, I have a lot of question marks on them. I know Diego likes them better than I do, but here we go.
But the thing is, in Taiwan, the WBC is bigger than the Olympics. I mean, these games are watched like national holidays.
Oh, for sure.
We saw that in 2023 when they hosted a game over there in Taiwan. Pool play, in Taiwan. Yeah. But I mean, this team carries like the hopes of a baseball Mad Island.
Yeah.
And expectations can crush or they can elevate. So we'll see what they do. But I'm excited to watch their games again. And I know he's not really that excited too, but I will be tuning into Tubi at 5 a.m. watching Taiwan games.
We did that before, and they were cool. They were cool. So
let's talk about our sponsor for the episode.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
F3 Athletics. This episode is proudly sponsored by F3 Athletics, your go-to shop for personalized sports gear for athletes, teams, and families with over 16 years of crafting experience and an Etsy store ranked in the top 9. F3 Athletics decided to open up their own website, so check them out, f3athletics.com. And they specialize in high-quality personalized items. Check them out on their website and use code BWB for a special discount, 10%. Just for our listeners, link to the store in the show notes, so check them out for sure.
f3athletics.com. Thank you. So now let's go into Australia. This is a team that's low-key dangerous, man.
No longer a sleeper. I don't think
they're not a sleeper anymore. Yeah. They're not, no one is, not looking at them. And again, this is one of the reasons my mistake that I thought that this pool was going to be very shaky. Australia can be a very difficult team to get over for any of these teams. For real.
No, for sure. I mean, the 2023 they went to the quarterfinals. That's their best run yet.
Yeah.
They're hot right now, and they're hopefully to ride on that same momentum train. They shot Korea and they beat Korea last time, which was, in Korea, you did not want to be in Seoul. South Korea after that.
Terrible. It was terrible.
And they almost beat Cuba.
They almost got down, took Cuba down for sure.
But this team has real grit, and people from down under.
Yeah, they play loose, right? Like they got nothing to lose. A lot of those guys are minor leaguers or indie ball players, but they play like they got nothing to lose. And when you play like you got nothing to lose, you play loose. Listen, you are gonna be dangerous. And then couple that with some of that pitching talent that they have, particularly in the middle of the middle relief. Listen, this team is dangerous, man.
For sure.
They're not sleepers anymore. Nobody's sleeping on them for sure.
Let's talk about some players to watch out for Team Australia. I think one is got to be Robbie Glendinning. He's a power hitting infielder. He's a good veteran with experience, and he played last time, so he has the experience with WBC in those pressure moments. And I think he'll propel their offense. Another one I want to talk about is Warwick Saupold. He's a longtime ace for Australia. He's been through all the Australia leagues or whatever, and he has a bunch of experience. So great arm to have in that rotation that knows how to pitch in crunch time situations. Curtis Mead. He's a player for the Rays. He was highly touted prospects, not really panning out in the majors so far. But you never know. He was a top prospect for a reason, so he's got some tools and somehow
talent is there.
Yeah, for sure. And I got Alex Hall, who was a catcher for Team Australia last year in 2020, or sorry, not last year, 2023. Another one with those. He's been there, done that. Great experience, and the catcher can really speak to the pitching staff and help them get through those tough moments. And they have a bunch of indie ball guys, like he said, and a bunch of minor leaguers that also they're in the minor leagues for some reason. They're in the best organization in the world other than the MLB, and they have a bunch of talent, and it could show in that short tournament.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't want to go without mentioning their bullpen. Liam Hendricks, Grant Balfour, those two alone, that's a great bullpen to have, right? And I tell you, I think that's going to be their strength. When you look at the strengths for this particular team, is their pitching and particularly their bullpen. Especially their bullpen. That Grant Balfour, Liam Hendricks, and others that they have a good mix of MLB and high minor positional players that are going to be able to help as well. But their pitching is certainly their big strength.
For sure. I think one thing I want to note for them is their strength. I'm going to go a little outside the box. Is camaraderie. They almost have the exact same roster from 2023. Not a lot, if any team can really say that. So Australia is basically they're going for the same lineup and 2026, so that can really help them.
It's a big wild card. It carries the same value as the ton of pressure that Korea is under. For this team. It's a wild card for sure. And I tell you, I mean, you cannot discount camaraderie and that feeling of being in the trenches together and liking each other.
For sure.
That's gonna be really good.
So what was your strength for this?
So like the pitching,
bullpen.
The bullpen. Now when it goes to weaknesses. Starting pitching, it's inconsistent. They may have some good talent, but starting pitching has been inconsistent. They have had to go to their bullpen early and often to bail them out of situations. In short series, that could help, but the longer you go, and if you make it out of this pool, which they have a potential that they could, then those arms may not be available because of the rules that are going to be in place. So what's going to happen, right, in later rounds? Having said that, I think that it's they're still a very dangerous team.
No, for sure. I'd say weakness for me is lack of proven MLB talent across the board.
Yeah, that's true.
There's not. I mean, I guess your captain will be Curtis Mead on the offensive side because he's playing for Tampa Bay Rays right now. But there's not a lot of proven MLB talent and elite talent on that team. So that's one thing that could really hold them down. But I'll say it again, Australia's playing with that chip on the shoulder mentality.
Nothing to lose mentality.
No one expects them to make it out, and that's exactly why they might make it out.
Yep.
And the 2023 win over Korea was shocking to say the least. They broke everybody's bracket. It was March Madness. They broke everybody's prediction bracket. But they play loose, they play fearless, and they got nothing to lose. So
a bunch of people lost money on that game.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Oh yeah, for sure. So yeah, the Outback.
All right.
Strong team.
Now let's move on. Last team on the bracket. And
America's
probably
favorite,
number one in your hearts.
The nation's favorite.
Czech Republic, baby. That's a team. That's a team. I mean, that's a story. Let's put it that way.
Sure.
I mean, that's the best story in international baseball. The reason why the World Baseball Classic is so important, and that team is back. Czech Republic is back, baby. I mean, it's so cool to see. It's a squad made up of teachers, engineers, firefighters. You know, you can make this up.
No, it's that. This is watching them. I had a smile on my face the whole time.
Yeah,
like, it's just beautiful to see. They debuted on 2023 and they won a game. They beat China, so they stayed out of relegation. So now they're here in Pool C. But they won the hearts of millions of fans across the WBC, and I'm just so happy for them to be back. And also, like, another team that expect them to be in the games that they absolutely should not be.
Correct. Ask Japan. You know, they gave him a scare for a couple innings, but they gave him a scare. They had him double thinking their life choices at one point, because they probably were not thinking about them, you know, giving them any importance. But listen, this is a team that plays heart. It's heart and hustle. That's it. They just love to be in there. They have a neurosurgeon as their coach. It's incredible, you know.
For sure.
But you know, one thing that's happening. That's the reason behind. The reason behind the World Baseball Classic is to expand baseball's reach in the world, right? Mm-hmm. And after what happened in 2023 with Czech Republic, the state, you know, the country has starting to put more funding into baseball training. They've got better training now. They have more funding, more attention, more facilities are being sprung in Czech Republic to bring baseball to the people. And that's exactly what the World Baseball Classic is all about. You know, they're still the underdogs, and they're going to be the underdogs in every game they play. But guess what? They don't care. Mm-hmm. They don't care, and watch out. Watch out.
Not that you know any of these guys, but let's go over some of their key players. Martin Schneider, I think, is one of their key players. He's a firefighter who struck out MLB hitters. He was the guy who got Ohtani to strike out. So he got a big strikeout on Ohtani.
I'm telling you, he probably has that ball. I would have asked for that ball.
Oh, yeah. But yeah, he's their ace. And then, you know, a guy who's been there, done that, and can pitch in those crunch times. He's another one, 80 poop. But, you know, he's a surgeon with
he was he was a college baseball player, you know, so that's where he's you know he was a good player, good pitcher. You know, when it comes, I don't know any of these guys, you know, except for Sartoria. I mean, he's the only one that comes to mind for me. And nobody expects us to know that. Nobody expects you to know any of those guys, and that, you know, their names don't matter. It really doesn't matter. Is that they're representing a country from the heart. And that's what this is all about. And I mean, what if they won one game?
For sure, they stay out of relegation.
What if they win one game? They could ruin this bracket. This could turn into madness if they win one game.
Going to be the same as 2023. Eric Sogard, MLB vet, who's been in the MLB for a long time. Another, you know, he's going to return maybe as a player or maybe as a coach, whatever. But he's definitely going to be involved in Czech Republic and can really help them in crunch type situation because he knows how to play. So for sure, and we already talked about Sartori as a pitcher with sneaky stuff, and great control. So don't sleep on him. Don't sleep on him, Murakami, because he can strike you out real fast.
Yeah, no kidding. He already struck out Ohtani.
So, yeah.
When it comes to strengths, you know, their strength is that there's nothing to lose. They have nothing to lose. And that's the most dangerous attitude to encounter. You know, when you are an opponent, you know, right? Mm-hmm. When you go against a team that has nothing to lose and they don't care and they're gonna go all out and try their hardest, bro, that is a dangerous attitude to encounter. You know, when you're out there, it's a Joe's versus pros attitude. You know, if you would, right?
I mean, if you're not rooting for Czech Republic, check your pulse. Like you know, everyone is. So.
Everyone is. I would love to see them win one game. And what are their weaknesses? Well, you know, let's be real. You know, everything is a weakness for them. You know, everything is a weakness: pitching, batting, defense. You know, everything. But that's not the point of this team. You know, it's not one of the points.
Belts.
I'm telling you. I know we're not into predictions yet. We're about to, but my boldest prediction is that they're gonna win one game in this pool.
Wow.
Now, we'll go later to see which team I think they're going to beat, but we're about to get into that.
One thing I want to get into before we get into that is I want to talk briefly, this could be a whole different video, about the Japan and Korea rivalry. That's something that it's a rivalry as old as time. I mean, these two countries' baseball leagues get compared to each other more than anything almost in the world. So they always fight. In the Korea and Japan game, you can lock it in. That's gonna be a sold out crowd.
Oh man.
And on TV, it's gonna do great numbers.
Yeah.
It's in the second iteration of this tournament, 2009. It pulled 20 million viewers.
Ooh.
Let me talk to you about 2009. Nobody was paying attention to World Baseball Classic in 29. Nobody was. And they still pulled 20 million. You imagine in 2026, Korea versus Japan.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my goodness. But in 2023, their first round game has 62 million viewers in Japan and 3 more in Korea.
Wow.
So it was a first round pool play.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Japan has usually won this rivalry, but I think Korea's getting closer to that level and can really make a name for themselves if they get that win in pool play this year.
Yeah, no, for sure. For sure.
But let's talk about some team historical context a little bit. I'm going to go into Chinese Taipei a little bit. A slept-on team that has more heart than anybody. I already said this. They were relegated even with a 2-2 record in 2023. I don't know if you remember that. And this pool, I think it was Pool C again in 2023. The bottom 3 teams had 2-2 records.
Yeah, 2-2.
And it went down to run differential. And they were just the odd man out. So they got relegated, even though they won 2 games in the pool. So they beat Italy and Netherlands. So but they lost to China. So it's like they beat 2 of the top dogs in that pool. But don't be surprised if they win a couple games. I know he likes Czech, and I love Czech too. But I love watching them. But,
oh yeah, well
yeah.
I think they're not as strong. It's gonna be interesting to see. I don't think that this pool is made up to end up like last time where it was Japan and then everybody else was 2-2. I think there's going to be more the cream rises to the top. But what's going to be interesting to me is who's going to get relegated out of this pool.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the interesting part.
So let's do a new segment we're going to be doing every episode. It's called the WBC Underdog Watch. We're going to pick a player from this pool that we think is a sleeper and that could really perform in this tournament. You want to go first? What's your underdog?
I think my underdog is going to be, if I'm being honest, I want to watch what Satori does, as a pitcher for the Czech Republic, because he could really be a wild card for them. If he goes out, for instance, if he matches against, you pitch him against Chinese Taipei because you're going for that win, right? You're going against the other weakest, team on that pool. And he comes out and gives a wonderful, masterful, gives him 5 innings. Watch out. I think that's a game that is going to be the one that Czech Republic wins. And Czech Republic is going to depend on their best pitcher. And if he goes out and does really well, Cinderella, here we come.
For sure. I mean, for me, my underdog is Korea's young 21-year-old third baseman Kim Do-young. Sorry if I mispronounced it. Was that all right? Soy boricua. No sé cómo decirlo.
But we try.
Kim Do-young. Let me tell you his stats in 2024 in the KBO. 30-30 season, 30 home runs, 40 stolen bases with a 347 average with 38 home runs again and 40 stolen bases. His OPS was 1,067 last year. At 25, he regressed a little bit. No, he's still been 330 average with a 1,008 OPS. This kid has a bright future ahead of him.
He's raking.
He can really make noise in this tournament. Watch out for Kim Do-young, Korea's young third baseman.
He's raking. Sure. He's raking. I like it.
So let's get into what everyone is hoping for.
Yeah.
Let's talk about records. One thing I want to say is that if Korea beats Japan, this group turns upside down and anything could happen. That's one thing I want to bring up before we talk about this.
That's what makes this group so unpredictable, in a way, right? Because Czech Republic is not going to beat Japan, right? And probably not Korea, but they could beat each other. Chinese Taipei could lose to Czech Republic and beat Korea and give a game to Japan. I mean, who knows, right? Mm-hmm. Korea can beat every single team on this group, right? And at the same time, look what happened in 2023. They could lose to any team on this group, right? This group is so unpredictable, bro.
For sure. No, I think For me, I don't think it's gonna happen. I got Japan 4-0.
I got Japan 4-0 too.
Yeah, I got Japan
I mean,
4-0,
I don't
move
see
on.
the, I don't see them losing. I don't see them losing.
think so either. But I gotta move it on. I got
How about Korea?
Korea. I got in a tie in 2-2, but I think they move on as well due to my differential. But I think they move on 2-2, and who they're in a tie with, I think, is Australia with 2-2.
Wow.
Australia
Interesting.
and Korea tie up for 2-2, but due to run differential, Korea moves on.
Okay, I get it. So I got Korea. I got Korea as a 3-1 at the moment, but I wouldn't be surprised if 2-2 because again, Australia is a tough team. Tough
For
team.
sure. Oh, yeah.
So 3-1, 2-2. I wouldn't be surprised. How about you have Australia doing what then? 2-2 as well.
And I
Okay.
got Chinese Taipei going 1-3, and Czech Republic going 0.
I have listen. I'm riding Cinderella, baby. I'm riding Cinderella. Give me that glass slipper, baby. Give me that glass slipper. Chinese Taipei 0-4. Czech Republic 1-3.
We're talking about one game.
Continuing their streak, and they're gonna qualify for the next iteration of the World Baseball Classic, baby. Cinderella is gonna be riding. I'm gonna ride Cinderella all the way home, baby. Let's go. Glass slipper, baby.
It's a
Let's go.
PG show.
Well, yeah, but you know what I mean. Come on, Cinderella, baby. Give me a Cinderella story. And I think Czech Republic is gonna beat China, or Chinese Taipei, I should say. And Chinese Taipei is gonna go 0-4, 1-3 for Czech Republic, 2-2 for Australia, 1-3 for Korea, and 4-0 for Japan. You know.
Yeah, I got Czech Republic 0-4, Chinese Taipei 1-3, Australia 2-2, Korea 2-2, and Japan 4-0, taking that one seed in this tournament. That's our rankings for this, and it could change. Give us like 6 months. We'll probably do another episode of going through each pool, but for now, that's what we have it. But send us your Pool C hot takes in the comments below, wherever you're watching. We'll play and we'll read the next ones in the next episode, and we'll shout you out. So make sure you leave your comments in the bottom and drop your personal ranking 1 through 5. I want to see it. So let's start the debate in there. We're trying to build a community of international baseball fans. So be a part of that. And next episode we're gonna be talking about Pool D, who's another one that's stacked. That there's nobody sleeping on Pool D. But tune in for next episode.
Yeah, absolutely. Give us your ideas for future projects too, for future episodes. We've taken some of your ideas and implemented them here, so I'm excited. Thank you for watching. We're excited. This is Pool C, pure baseball madness, best rivalry, best fans, and the best Cinderella story in sport.
All without borders.
See you next time. Take care.